Now, the difference is that this time, because I cannot really modify the wall, put a paper wall or do anything with it, I need to come up with something a little bit more creative than usual. So I need to go into a home store and try to find something that I can use for the background. And this time I actually found these panels that I don't really know what's the name in English. They're like curved panels that they resemble some sort of like curtains, but the difference is that they are like perfect, and that's why I believe it's going to create a very, very good texture in the background. So I'm going to buy 3 of these because I measured already my wall, and it's about 2 meters high and 2.2 wide. So because these panels are 85 wide and they're 2 meters high, then that would be perfect to have just 3. Keep in mind that the cost of this, I paid like 12 euros or like 10 euros, something like that for each. So for times 3 is about 35 euros or something like that, something in that range. So pretty cheap. And then I'm just gonna place them in front of the garage door. I'm not drilling anything. I'm just literally like putting them right there so that they don't fall, but I don't wanna drill them so that I can even remove them in case we have to use this garage once again. Now it's time to design the background. Obviously, I could use it also just like this, and maybe I'm gonna use a key light, but if you wanna make it a little bit more interesting, then maybe we can add some plants, we can add some bed lamps, we can add some falling plants and stuff like that. But first thing first, maybe we can try to use the background just like that. In case you need something extremely temporary and you don't have time to find more things, then we can try to use it just like that. But we need our key light. As you know, this is the most important element of them all, even better, even more important than the camera itself. So this time I'm just gonna use this one that I have with me. This is a Forza 150 with a 60 centimeter softbox. This is a softbox that you've seen in all my videos because it's just incredibly portable. I carry it with me everywhere I go in the world, and it's just really, really cool. This is the Forza 150. You've seen it already. I think it's like the best quality price, and it's like a little bit more powerful than the 60 watt, but you're gonna see that I'm gonna use this one at 2% power because I'm using a lens with a very low aperture, so I don't need much power. So at the end of the day, you can go with the 60 watt, no problem. I just have it ready, so I'm just gonna use this one for now. Obviously, we need to pick where we're gonna sit, and I wanna try to stay right in the middle, so probably in this area right here. So I'm just gonna pick a chair, just like that, and I'm probably gonna sit right here. There you go. This should be perfect. So what we need to do is just place, as always, our key light 45 degrees in front of us, just out of frame. So as close as we can, but making sure that it's out of frame and that is always higher than our eye line. So I'm probably gonna sit here, and the key light is going to be just right here. Right now, I can just sit in front of the frame to understand how it looks, and obviously I need to turn off all the lights that we have here in the room and just use this as a key light. So I'm going to do just that right now. There you go. And this is our framing as of right now. I'm using, again, a remote to control my Forza 150, and then I can basically decide how bright I want it. Right now, let's say I'm at 0. This is 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, and this, I think it's already enough. Once again, this is because I'm using a very low aperture lens, because I can go down to f1.2. If, let's say, I want to have it 2.8, let's just change it to 2.8. Or let's do whatever, 3.5. Majority of lenses can go 3.5. Now, obviously, it's too dark. So what I do, I just increase the light brightness. There you go. And now I can see that I'm also great looking with an f3.5. And now I want to see what's the percentage of the light. Is a 42%. So we still have a lot of room to play around with. But just for the sake of the video, I'm going to go down, back again to f1.2, and then I'm going to decrease the light and just stay, I think, 4 or 5%. Probably 4%, I think, looks fine. Now, this could be already okay, but I think the background is a little bit too dark. So what we can do is that maybe we can add one single light just in the background. And I'm just going to use a pocket light on a light stand. This is a Nanlite Littelite 5C. It's very cheap, and you can use any sort of pocket light. that you can find on Amazon or wherever, or make sure to check out the gear list that you have included in the course. And then we can just place it in the background behind me so that I'm gonna hide the light stand just again behind me. So I'm gonna place it right here. Then I have placed also a piece of wood so that I can incline this light a little bit upward, because I don't have a bulb head on this light at the moment. And this is it, DIY, there you go. And now let's see how it looks. There you go. Now it looks already so much better because we have illuminated the background. And as you can see, created a little bit more depth than before. Before it used to be like kind of infinite black. And already like this could be an option. But let's say you want to add a bit more details. Let's say I want to add a bit of things in the background to make it more interesting. Well, one of the things that we always added is a plant. And in this case, we can add maybe one big plant on one side and maybe a small plant on the other side. So I'm gonna take one big one first, and then probably I'm gonna place it around this area right here. This is the plant that I have right here in this place. And I'm probably gonna just place it right here. I keep monitoring the A camera so that I can see exactly where I want to place it, and I think right here looks fine. Now once again we check, this is perfect, and then also we can add maybe something else on the other side, and let's try to do that. So on the other side, maybe we can add a bed lamp. So I have currently this bed lamp from IKEA. It was extremely cheap, but I think it looks really, really good, and it fits with the vibe of the background. So I don't know where to put it. One way would be to have it basically coming from the ceiling. So just making it hanging like this. Otherwise, we can use, let's say, a coffee table, a small table, a bed table, whatever comes in your mind, to just make it a little bit higher. So we're gonna place this super cheap Amazon table that I found. I think it looks really good because it's very simple, very easy. And then we're just gonna place the bed lamp on top of it. There you go. And this is already so much better because we are trying to achieve a bit of symmetry so that we have elements both on my right with the plant and on my left with the bed lamp. But then what I see right now is that first of all, the plant is a little bit dark. So potentially we could move this backlight on the plant. There you go. To make it, to illuminate it, or we can keep this one as it used to be, just behind me, and then we can add another small light. In this case, I'm gonna add a tube light, basically pointing towards the plant so that we illuminate a little bit more the plant itself. Then one more thing that I can notice from this framing, even though it starts to be looking really, really juicy already, is that we have a lot of space in this area right here. It's very dark. So I could totally see maybe a plant or some fairy lights coming down from the ceiling to create a beautiful effect, especially if we have a low aperture lens, so that we can create this bouquet effect. So first thing first, let's add this tube light just basically towards the direction of the plant to illuminate a little bit more. This time I'm using it 45%. Intensity at 2700 Kelvin, which means basically a warm light. And I'm gonna place it just right here so that we illuminate the plant, but we illuminate also a little bit the background. Let's see if it's strong enough. Yeah, I think I like it like that. That looks really, really good already. And then one more thing, I wanna try to have a small plant coming in from the ceiling, just like this, let's say hanging from the ceiling on this side. And this time, because I didn't know what to do, I cannot drill the wall right here, I decided to put an iron wire right here from this side of the room, which has some curtains, to this side, which has an opening for a door, which is actually a DIY door. So yeah, I just put a wire, and then I brought this IKEA cheap plant and cheap plant holder just hanging down from the ceiling. And if I look at the frame, I just want to make sure that he's in the right position. I think like this looks fine. Then I want to add some fairy lights, and I already did. So I put fairy lights on the plant basically, so that it creates a beautiful bouquet effect. And right now I'm just gonna turn it on and this is it. Cool, so now let's see if the position is right. Yeah, this is perfect, and I really like this framing. I think it looks amazing, and it's well balanced also because we have a triangle. So we have the light right there, then the big plant, and then once again on the other side we have the bed lamp. So that's why also it feels balanced. There's one more thing that I want to add before wrapping up, is that as we know, we could add a backlight that is also called a rim light that can illuminate myself on this side, because I have my key light 45 degrees towards me that illuminates this side very well, but then here I'm very dark. And also because the background is also dark, then maybe we can add a backlight right there. We can use a pocket light, we can use a tube light, you can use even an iPhone flashlight to do so. Or this time I'm using a big tube light that I have right here. So I'm gonna just use it. This is a PowerTube 30X Mark II. And then I'm just gonna place it right here, auto frame, opposite to my key light. Then I'm gonna turn it on. Even this one will be not much strength. At the moment is at 5%. Let's see if that could be all right. And then once again, key light coming this way, backlight, rim light coming from the opposite way. And this looks pretty nice. I think we got it already. Maybe I wanna have it a little bit stronger. Cool. And this is it. This is the final result. And it looks really good in my opinion. Well balanced. We got just a few elements, just selected things, a lot of small details with lighting, bed lamp, and everything all together is definitely not expensive. So that's why I'm also enjoying this very much, because we just transformed a horrible background made of a door of a garage with a beautiful, sick, green kind of panels that are meant to be outdoor. They're super cheap. I don't even know what they're for, like normally probably to put on above the roof or something. But yeah, we just use it as a background, so very exciting. Now, one last thing before closing this video, I want to show you how it looks with different lighting options. And I want to show you how it looks with or without this backlight. As you can see, we have with the light and without the light. With the light, and then maybe now I can increase the power. I'm gonna turn it off and on. Off and on. Now, obviously I like it on. Maybe now is a little bit too strong, but you can decide whether you prefer more a darker vibes or a lighter vibes. That's totally up to you. And now I wanna also show you what happens when we turn off the small tube light that is illuminating the plant. So this is off, and this is on. Now we can increase the power of that light, and as you can see now, the light is becoming more like brighter, let's say. But then let's turn off this one right here. And now we can see that the light illuminating the plant makes a huge difference. So let's say now it's off, and now it's on. There you go. And then let's try also to turn off the backlight right here. The Littelite 5C that I have right there. This looks already, again, pretty good. It's just a different alternative. And then let's try to turn on the rim light with the long tube light that I have just on the side to see. And there you go. So it makes the whole scene brighter. Also because the tube light is quite wide, so it illuminates the background, it illuminates the foreground, illuminates everything other than this. So yeah, it's totally up to you. These are many alternatives that we have using the same setup. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can go from this to this in just a few simple steps, even if you're working with a small space that doesn't seem ideal at first glance. First, analyze the room. Second, positioning. Third, camera setup. Fourth, lighting. Fifth, background design. Sixth, audio. Starting with step one. So step one, we need to analyze the room and understand what kind of background we have, where the natural light is coming from, what kind of elements we can use, where we should position ourselves, our lights, and our camera. So right now I can see that in my room right here, I have a white wall, I have a green wall, I have a bunch of doors, then I have a plant right there. Then on this side, it's kind of like the kitchen, very messy kitchen. not liking this. Then there is another door. Then I got some huge windows on this side, and also I have a table right here. Then another white wall right there. Using white wall will be very difficult to work with. So one thing that I would like to use is probably this background right here, because I think the green is what looks the nicest. Then probably we can move also this plant right here. So even here we need to do a bit of trial and error, and I'm gonna just try to place the camera right here to start with. So now I'm just moving the camera, and the first thing I notice is that I can see this white wall and also that white wall, and I don't want to do that. So the way to cut them out is simply by moving the camera forward. There you go. Now I'm using a lens that is quite wide. It's a 28mm f2.8 that goes up to 75mm. So probably we'll have to zoom in a little bit just like that. And right now I don't see any more this wall and that kind of wall, the front of this wall. So I'm gonna try to sit and see whether I like the background and maybe it has potential. So I'm gonna sit just right here. And I can see that this is not too bad. The lighting also is great because today is a beautiful day, so there is some nice natural light coming in. But this is a problem because natural light is often an enemy of our content, because if we need to make some cuts, the light changes all the time. So every cut you'll see some change in exposure. Even though our eyes don't notice it, when you're gonna cut your video, you're gonna notice it. So our goal is not to use natural light for anything, but to block out every source of natural light and use only one artificial light or more. But in general, one is more than enough, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. So I can see that this is quite interesting. I like it, but again, there is that door that, I mean, I'm not a big fan of that door, and also this white wall, it's a little bit intense. So what we can try to do is that we can zoom in all the way in the lens and see whether we can remove this white wall from the picture. So I'm just gonna zoom in a lot, probably maximum. There you go. Now I can still see the door, but then if I go backward, maybe this could be a little bit more interesting. Now let me try to bring the camera backward and see whether we can have a bit more space to play around with. Just like that. Then I'm gonna try to move the camera around and see what's the best angle possible. Probably in this position right there. Let's see how it looks. Okay. I mean, this is not too bad. There is the door right here. That is still I'm not a big fan of that. Potentially we can try to move that plant right here in front of the door. So let's try to do that and see how it looks. We're gonna move this one right here. There you go. Now let's sit down again. Okay. I mean, I'm still cut here a little bit, but that's not a problem. We can just bring the camera higher, but I just want to understand whether this could be interesting. It's not that bad, but I think we can make it better. So let's try to see whether there is any other angle that we can use. And because we cannot use this, I don't want to use the white wall. I think the TV will be difficult to work with, and there's not much space. Maybe I can try to place the camera here instead, and then use this as a background. In this case, I'm gonna have a green wall, which is very nice, and also one white wall, which probably we can work with to try to make it more interesting. So let's try to do that. I'm gonna just bring the camera right here. There you go. As far as possible from the background. So right now I'm super close to the TV. And then now I'm gonna try to frame it so that I don't see the end of that wall. And also I don't see this door on this side. Probably right here should be good. But let's get a chair and let's see whether it can work or not. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna sit down now. And honestly, yeah, this is not too bad. I actually like also this one that is right here. Then I have this frame here, and this wall is a little bit too empty. So probably we'll need to work a bit on the background. We'll need to design it a bit better, but I think this is not too bad. Now, depending on the lens that you have, obviously your position will be slightly different. For example, if I go backward, you'll be able to see me a little bit more, but then if I come closer, then it's kind of like more zoomed in. What is the advantage of being closer to the camera and further away from the background? Well, this is because you'll be able to create more separation, and therefore, for example, right now you can see that I'm in focus, but the background is out of focus, it's blurry. So we create this bokeh effect that is always very nice and will make you look pro. This depends a lot on the lens and camera that you're using. In general, the lower the aperture, so let's say f2.8, f1.8, f1.4, f1.2 will create a stronger bokeh effect. Now, if I go backward instead, you can see that everything becomes in focus right now. I'm in focus, but also the background is in focus. So there's not much separation. So the best way, for example, right now is probably to stay in between. Try to find a balance whenever you see yourself enough that you're not too close and that you're not too far, so that we can take advantage of our lens and camera. One of the biggest mistakes that I see beginners make is that they just stay too close to the background themselves as the subject, whereas our goal is try to stay as far as possible from the background. Now, let's say you are very far with the camera from the background, but then you're having inside the framing some elements that you want to cut. Then in that moment, you can move the camera a little bit closer to the background. But then the farther away, the more bokeh effect you'll be able to create. So right now I'm maxed out in terms of distance between camera and background, and I'm sitting almost in the middle. I'm a little bit closer to the camera, let's say. And this framing, I think, is the one that looks best. So I'm probably gonna try to stick with this one and then make sure that the positioning is right. But as I already explained, we got the camera as far as possible, we are almost in the middle, and then we have the background right there. Then we'll play around with the design a little bit later. Now, whenever we have positioned these three items, background, camera, and ourselves, we got the fourth item, which is our light. And this is gonna be the most important element that will make your videos look epic. Don't invest in cameras too much, don't invest in lenses too much, but invest in lighting if you can, because in general, light doesn't cost that much, but will make a huge difference in your content. And I'm gonna demonstrate you that. So let me take my key light. So this is my key light. I'm gonna just detach it. And it's composed by the key light itself and a softbox. This is a foldable softbox. It has a diameter of 60 centimeters and it's just amazing because it can be folded and it fits all the time in my luggage. I always travel with this one and this small light. The small light, as you can see, is quite small. This is a Nanlite Forza 60B Mark II and it goes from 2700 Kelvin to 6600 Kelvin, which means that I can have warm light or cold light. That's the scale of Kelvin. Then I have a cheap tripod that I use to put my light on top, and also there is the adapter. Now let me put back the softbox. And now the goal is to follow a few simple guidelines to make sure that we have the highest quality video possible. And this is by managing the position of the light. The light should be as close as possible to you, but just out of frame, which means that it doesn't come into the frame, but it's just outside. This is because the closer the light, the higher quality is gonna be. So I'm gonna try to place the light just right here, right behind the camera, and then I'm gonna sit to make sure that I am as close as I can, and this is it. Probably it's gonna be like here. Now you can see that, for example, right now it enters the frame, so my goal is not to have it in the frame, so I'm gonna make it a little bit higher. There you go. And now, as you can see, I position this one a little bit higher than my eye line, pointing down towards me 45 degrees on this side. So I'm not gonna have it T-flat on top of the camera, but I'm gonna have it a little bit more sideways. This is because it's gonna create a more cinematic, more good looking effect, and it's gonna be super flattering. So now let's turn it on. Yeah, and that's it. As you can see already, my face looks so much better than without it. But now, one more thing that we said before already is that we need to control all the lights that we have inside our room, and therefore we need to block out the windows. So let me do that.